Welcome to Small Biz Life, episode 61, differentiating yourself from the competition.
Does this sound familiar?
Oh my God, I have so much to do today.
Don't forget to breathe.
But I have almost 400 emails in my inbox and 30 phone calls to make.
Have you looked into getting a virtual assistant yet?
Oh, and I need to schedule all my social media posts.
Did you drink anything today?
I had coffee.
Did you eat today?
Did I mention coffee's a bean?
This is Small Biz Life.
Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of Small Biz Life.
That's right. Exciting and action-packed this week.
I don't know how action-packed it is, but we'll try to go there. Sure, why not? So my name's Kristen Ingram.
And I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And we're a husband and wife team. I'm a CPA.
And I am an IT professional.
Oh. And we are walking this journey with you through what we call the small biz life. Mm-hmm. Because we know that this is not a 9-to-5 job. This is 24/7. And hopefully it's something that you are super passionate about.
Yes. Because it's kind of tough to be involved in something that's so integral to your life and not love it.
Exactly. So before we get to talking about how to differentiate yourself, we wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about
some big news items.
Right. So, we had said back in episode 2, way back in the day, that it is really important to make sure that you are building your own platform and you are not focused strictly on social media. And if you're following the news, it was announced, it was actually really funny because we were watching this segment on 60 Minutes about influencers in social media.
Yes.
And one of the guys they talked about was a Vine star.
The 6-second man, I believe they called him.
Right. And this guy is making like hundreds of thousands of dollars by like wearing t-shirts or like, having a soda in his hand. Mm-hmm. And Vine shut down. Yes. Gone. Vine is gone.
And that's one of the social medias I always looked at because I knew that's where the kids were supposed to be. But I could never figure out how to be funny or get my point across in only 6 seconds, luckily for me.
And this guy was actually really good. Like, yes. They showed his stuff was really funny, but Vine is gone, which means that his revenue source is also gone.
Yeah.
And there's a guy that you follow on YouTube that he had over 100,000 subscribers and YouTube deleted his channel.
Yes.
And didn't tell him why.
Nope. Just his channel gone, hundreds of videos, 100,000 subscribers, and channel completely deleted. Didn't know why when he was talking to people on Twitter about it because people were like, where did your channel go? And he's like, I don't know. And now he has to set up a new channel. He has to try and somehow let those 100,000 people who followed him know. And I hope he has backups of all of his videos.
Yeah. So, think about that. If you build, this huge presence, we've got on the Accounting and Focus channel, we've got about 400,000 views on that channel, but we also have the website.
Yeah.
Right. With all the written content, and I've got backups of all the videos. So if something happens, I have all that content. Right. And now the site has 4 times the traffic that the YouTube channel has.
And the problem is if you're strictly tied down to one platform, and this I think happens even more so with YouTube because of the monetization of videos, when you start getting to like 100,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers in that range, you start getting a lot of money just from YouTube. You can make decent money before you get there, but you start making real money.
Yeah.
And the problem is if that's your only source of revenue, if something was to happen, even temporarily, what happens if it shut down and you went through appeals and they reopened it, but you lost a week? How would that affect your bills?
Right. And, social media is always changing. So, Vine was a great place for people to be. Right now I'm watching Twitter because I know like Jeff loves Twitter. Twitter is his place, but Twitter is trying to sell itself and nobody's interested.
Yes, then their stock is crashing and they're not making enough money. And the question is, if they can't find a path to monetization, they could be in trouble.
And it's when
And
I
who would
was
even say that 2 years ago.
right. And when I was at Experts Academy last week, Brendan Burchard was actually saying like he does not run Twitter ads because there's not enough analytic data
Yeah.
for him to be able to go through to justify that. Whereas with Facebook, that's where he puts his ad money because he can dial down who gets the information. Like Twitter's never been really good at collecting a lot of information about their users.
So he can't target the people he's trying to target as well in the platform. And that in and of itself makes it unappealing for him to go into.
You know, watch what's going on with social media. Make sure that you've got your website, that you're driving traffic to that website, and you're not focusing strictly on social media.
Yes.
Okay, just kind of protect yourself. Okay, that's all we're asking you to do. Okay, so this week's topic, we're going to talk about how to differentiate yourself, and we're going to talk a little bit about, actually, we're going to talk a lot about how to do market research. I think the key to this is a lot of times we start our businesses and we're, you know, trying to make things work and we're throwing stuff up on the wall to see if it sticks. And we're not looking at what the people either in our local area are doing or even what businesses in other areas of the country are doing to be innovative and to make their customers happy.
And sometimes you're going to find too, like what you do is not common. You know, it's like for my other show, there's not this huge number of sites that are focused on fantasy world building. There are sites that incorporate bits of it because anywhere in genre fiction, world building is a thing, but there's very few places that actually do it. And so it can be tough. So sometimes if you're in a smaller niche like that, if you're in Europe, you can say niche, but not in the US, you should say niche.
Brendan kept going back and forth at Experts Academy. He's like niche. Sometimes people say niche. Then I'm like, yes, exactly.
I know why. It's an English versus American pronunciation.
Right.
And now, so sometimes you have to be creative in how you look at stuff. You know, look at people who have similar businesses than you, because there's probably or hopefully never an exact match. So you have to think it through.
Right. Well, so like in my field, there are a lot of CPAs out there. And typically CPAs aren't great marketers. So, you know, for me to just look in my area, you know, and say, okay, well, I'm going to look at the CPAs in the Hartford, Springfield area. That's not enough.
Yeah.
Right. So what I like to do is I like to try to find markets that are similar to Hartford and Springfield.
Yeah.
And look to see, okay, let me search CPAs in that area.
Yeah, and I think another great example would be independent coffee houses. Whereas in New England, coffee is well beloved, not independent coffee houses. Not a lot, especially in the area that we're in. So you'd have to go out somewhere. I know there's a whole bunch like in the Nashville area. There are certain parts of the country where they have this big independent coffee scene, but not here. And so if you were looking to do something innovative and great around here, you probably wouldn't get much information researching it.
Right. So that's in Nashville. When we were in Nashville last December, we went to a whole bunch of different really cool coffee places. And, you know, and that's actually where we found out about pour over, because they don't really do that here.
Yeah.
There are a couple places down in Hartford by some of the big insurance companies, but it's not like really a thing here.
Yeah. We never heard of it until we went down there.
Oh, and it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things too is, you know, it also, if the business you're in is traditionally locally based, you're probably going the same route. You probably have a storefront, someplace to interact with people in office space, because that's the way your business is dealt with. But you also have to look to, you know, in this and look for ideas of scalability. How can I take my small business online, even when it's a small local business? You have to consider that along the way, because you're missing out on a much larger potential revenue stream that can help support your business, especially if the local economy goes bad. If you're strictly local, most businesses suffer when the economy goes bad locally.
Well, and I know, like, as somebody who is a crafter, okay, so I'm into knitting, as you know, go knitting. it drives me crazy. Like when I go to a local yarn shop's website and I can't get enough of a read about the store from their website to decide whether or not I want to drive 30 minutes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like there's one of the largest yarn stores in the country is about 45 minutes from my house. And if you go to their website, they have lots of pictures of the shelves and the store. And so I can look at that and go, wow, I want to go there. And a lot of times you go to like a knitting store's website and they show you one picture and you're like, I can't even tell how big the place is. Like,
One of the first things I learned in my heavy business career, which started when I worked at UPS, was when you're dealing with your customer, which at that point mine was what they called an internal customer, another UPS employee. Your job is to take away their excuses. And that's where you hear a lot where business gurus will talk about finding the pain points. The thing is, you must make those easy. You have to take those away. That removes the excuse of them not doing business with you.
Right. And that's, it's interesting because at Experts Academy, Brennan said, rather than looking at like pain points, right, look at their opportunities, right, which is kind of the flip side, right? So you have to understand what their weaknesses are before you can present opportunities to them. But I think that that's a really cool way to look at it.
Yeah, it's just a different way. It's keeping the words more optimistic in your mind, but ultimately you need to remove the barriers between you and your customers.
Right.
And you need to make it simple for them to do business with you. And if your customers keep coming and complaining about something over and over and over again, and it's multiple customers, all the different demographics that you do business with, you really have to start considering that there's a problem with your business at that point.
Right. So going back to being different. So the first thing that we want you to do is we want you to look for some local businesses in your area, right? So if you're doing something that there is local competition, we want you to look at their businesses first. Go, check out their websites, see what they're offering on there. And we also want you to find some businesses outside your geographic region that are in the same field you're in.
And the great thing to think about is, what are those towns? There's towns known for stuff. So like, say you want to create a craft brewery and you want a small indie one, and there's probably some competition in your area at this point in modern America. But, you go look at Portland, there's so many of them out there, you're going to get much better feedback on what works, what doesn't work. And it might not translate to your area, but you'll get a lot more new, better ideas.
Yeah. Portland, Asheville, North Carolina, Nashville, we're starting to get it up here. Like we actually have like a beer trail.
Well,
now.
I think there's a lot of beer places out there now, but I think Portland is probably known as the biggest indie beer place there is.
So, but so that's the thing. So if it's not big in your area, go to an area of the country where it is.
Yeah.
Because they're, especially in accounting, there's, at least in New England, from the research I've done, there's not a lot of innovation up here. The accounting firms are just, they're doing taxes, they're doing the work that is coming through their door. But in other areas of the country, accountants are being much more innovative.
Yeah.
And so you've got to kind of find those businesses to see what they're doing.
And part of that, you'll learn that when you start doing your research locally to find out, wow, this just seems to be like another generic CPA shingle, over and over again. That's when you would really have to go look beyond, but take it a step further. Once you start getting all these ideas, always think to scale. How can I get this online? How can I drive additional revenue sources simply by delivering services online to a larger community?
Well, and here's one tip. So if you're having trouble kind of finding businesses, go to a platform that you are interested in putting content on and search for businesses on there.
Yeah.
So like if you want to start doing YouTube videos to help, let's use IT, because there's a ton of small IT businesses. So if you want to start making videos showing people how to do like quick things on their computer to improve the performance or, their security, go look for videos that are doing that and then find the companies that are generating those videos and go to their websites and see what they're doing. Because the nice thing too is if you do something, if you use like YouTube or if you use Facebook, you can find audience size. And so you can see like, all right, well, yeah, their website's really nice, but if I go to their Facebook, they have 20 followers.
Yeah.
Or if I go to their YouTube channel, they have 2 videos that are 8 years old.
Yes.
So, kind of using social media as your search engine.
I think what you're saying is work forwards and then backwards. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's good. So once you've kind of identified some companies that, are in your peer group, whether they're local or whether they're national. And if you have an online business, this is a lot easier. Yes. Right? Because you're not looking at locality. I want you to think about the solutions and the products that they are offering. And, you might want to do, if you find like 5 or 6, right? Create a form and say, okay, what's the name of this company? Where are they located? And then say, okay, products and services, and do that for all 5. Yeah. Okay. And kind of go through this checklist. And I'm going to put this checklist up on the show notes for episode 61 on the website.
Checklist. I love it.
Okay. Look at the format that they deliver their solutions in. So, do they have a spot on their website where you can just download the software? Yeah. Or you can, they're selling white papers with information, or they're selling checklists for computer cleanup. What are they doing? What format are they selling things in? Look at the way that they're marketing and they sell their products. So are they running Facebook ads? Do they have a big Facebook following? Maybe they have a group. If they have a newsletter, sign up for it. Do you know how many competitors' newsletters I sign up for?
All of them.
Lots. Because I want to know, what are they delivering? How are they selling? Right? So if you're in financial services or, financial planning, find some planners that you think are really innovative and sign up for their newsletters. Get their stuff.
And the idea here is you're not trying to recreate their intellectual property and rubber stamp it and call it your own, or else you're just creating noise. The biggest thing you have to take out of this is the point of the episode is you're looking for how your strengths can create a difference in making the product better.
Well, and it was amazing because I was working with somebody this week who was going through and looking at her competition, and she came back to me and she's like, I can't tell you how many of, their lead magnets have like broken links. Yeah. Or they take you to a 404 page because the content is gone. I'm like, hell, if nothing else, if your information's up to date and it doesn't take people to broken links, people will be happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's much like the way I've gotten feedback in my newsletter when I actually respond to the people who respond to my emails like I asked them to, and they're shocked because I just take that second.
Right. Yeah, and it's funny reading some of the emails you get because they're like, wow, you really wrote back. So I mean, that's the thing. It's like if you ask people to communicate with you via email, write back. Yeah. That's going to be huge.
And if you don't plan to, don't try and trick them.
Right. Yeah, don't ask them to respond if you're not going to write back. Look at the benefits that these competitors are offering. So how are they crafting their message to show the benefits of their services or their products? And look at that across, those 5 or 6 that you look at and see, how is your messaging? Right? So maybe are you not talking about the benefits, right? And the opportunities that are available?
Are you actually not trying to sell when you're trying to sell? Are you trying to worm around the idea of buying something from you because you feel a little awkward asking for people to buy it? I've seen that a lot in a lot of marketing where people are like, hey, if you have a second or two and you happen to be on this link in Amazon and you want to buy my thing, that would be kind of cool. What? What are you saying? Just say, hey, this is my book. This is what makes my book great. Please buy my book. Let me know you bought my book, and I will kiss your butt on social media.
There you go. But I mean, that's the thing. I know that selling is, I don't like selling personally. Although at Experts Academy, like I learned a really good way to do it. So I'm pretty happy about that. But if you don't tell people why they should buy your product and what benefits they're going to get and the opportunities that could open up for them. I mean, like if you're in IT and you're like, hey, listen, if you buy our virus software, it runs in the background all the time. It doesn't slow down your computer. It will keep you from getting a virus and it will keep you up and running.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need online backup? You need online backup because if your computer crashes, you are going to lose time.
And your baby's pictures.
Right. So, and if you want to spend in positive light, it's like, we protect your baby's pictures and all your most important assets so that you never have to worry about data loss.
Or the negative one, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your baby pictures are? But, the thing, that's only half of it, though. If you don't overtly ask at some point for people to give you sales, they will probably never do.
Right.
Even though I'm not sure it's all complete English, but yes, they will never buy stuff if you don't ask them to. And you will get sales here and there, and you'll look at your messaging and go, I'm talking about all of the benefits. I'm talking about all of those wonderful things, but they're not buying. It's because you're probably not asking. And I've seen so many letters where people are trying to launch books. They're doing all of this stuff, and they never ask people to buy. They'll say, here's a sample of 3 chapters. Here's this, here's that. This is why this is the best thing ever. Oh, okay, that was a great email. Click, delete. The thing is, you don't even have to think of it as you're trying to take their money. That's not what you're trying to do. If that's what you're trying to do, you're a jerk and you will go out of business. You have to realize when you're asking them to buy something to give you money, you are providing a service or a product to them. You're giving them something that they need. I'm not saying trick people. That's wrong. I'm not saying go to any means necessary. But if you have someone who you think needs your product, you tell them why you think they need it. If they agree with you, you ask them to give you the money because then you can help service more people. And you hurt yourself and you possibly hurt people out there who could benefit from your service, who could benefit by your product because you're afraid to ask anyone to buy it. And that's unfair.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think a lot of times we sell ourselves short because we are afraid to do that, and
I'm a horrible person with this too. So, don't think I'm a high and mighty and I'm Mr. Salesman because this is one of the things until I started thinking like, wait, I'm really trying to help people with what I'm doing. Even in my fiction, I want to give them a few moments to escape from, the presidential election or whatever they're trying to escape from. And I'm going to tell them what it is. If they want to buy it, that is what we call a win-win agreement. That is the height of the way we should do it when you both volunteer to exchange something with someone else. When you both choose to do that, that is the height of human interaction.
Well, and the thing that's really cool is like in Experts Academy, Brendan said, an expert is a person with a high degree of skill in or knowledge of a subject, a person you trust who defines what to pay attention to, what things mean, how things work, how to advance, and how things might turn out. An informed person who gets paid for their insight and guidance.
Yeah.
Paid.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. You can't stay in business if you don't get paid. Okay? So, that's one thing that, and I know we give out a lot of free advice, right? We do this podcast, right? But this is like the first level of our business, right? So this is kind of the value that we give to get people engaged in the process. Yeah. Because then people come to us and go, hi, can I pay you?
Yeah.
And you don't go, oh, no, you can't. No. Yes, you take the money.
Yeah. You don't make judgment calls either because this is a tough one. You make assumptions sometimes when you see or interact people. I don't know if they could afford it, so I'm not going to. It is their choice to determine what they can afford with their money. It is wrong of you to make those choices. If they can't, they will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And you shouldn't be mad or upset. But the thing you have to realize is when it comes to selling to people, it's not wrong. It's only wrong if you lie to get their money. It's only wrong if you coerce them into buying your product or service. Or if they coerce you to give them for low or free, that's equally wrong.
Mm-hmm. And that's where saying no is really important.
Because it prevents you from helping more people, and I know a lot of times the things that we struggle with is, come on, am I really an expert? Really? Me? A real expert? I don't think so. But you know what? You don't get to choose that. And it was funny when people start calling me an expert for world building, or I get put in these super hoopty business expert groups on Twitter when I tweet stuff out. I laugh still, but you know what? That's the choice of the person making the decision. I don't get to say I could say I'm an expert, but it don't mean nothing. The people who interact with me get to choose. And if you think I'm an expert to you. If you think I'm an idiot to you. And you get to make that choice either way. And I will try and convince you that I kind of know what I'm talking about. And I might play around and have fun with it. But the point is, the people out there make the choice. The people who've chosen to follow you, the people who are interested in your products, they consider you that important.
And that's why you have to have, no matter what type of business you're in, whether you're a local business or a small, nationwide business, you have to put your expertise out there, right? There's this concept of, social proof.
Yeah.
And so, if you go to my YouTube channel for Accounting in Focus, there are thousands of comments on my channel. Wow, this is amazing. Wow, this is awesome. Wow, you're so much better than my professor. I don't need to say, hey, I really know what I'm talking about when I teach students accounting, because they can see my numbers and they can see all those comments and go, wow, lots of people think she knows what she's talking about. She must know what she's talking about.
Which is one of the reasons why I get frustrated, because people are so afraid that they'll give it all away that no one will ever give them money. And there's nothing further from the truth, because the first part of social proof is putting the stuff out there. The people will tell you what you need to improve. They will tell you what is good. They will tell you what works. They will tell you what they're interested in, what they're not interested in. People who interact with you when you give your stuff away for free, in the smaller parts of the time that you focus your business on that, those people help you become a better expert. They help you become better at making your product, your service. So you have to listen to them and you get important feedback. But you know what? Many of those same people are going to buy the thing that you come out with afterwards. Even if you give them the same stuff restructured in a better packaging and in a more organized, thoughtful way, that's still improving it for them. Because to find all this information, they have to go back over 2 years worth of your blog post or your videos or your podcast to get all that information and put it together. When you organize the thoughts for them in a way that they find useful, you deserve compensation.
Well, okay. So, since I just got back from Experts Academy, we'll use this as an example. So Brendan Burchard has a book that's called The Millionaire Messenger. That is the basic framework of Experts Academy. And that book is like $20. But lots of people buy his $1,000 course so that they can go through everything like in video with him. Right. And I prefer to learn that way. I like to do video and take notes.
Yes.
He also does a live event every year, which has components of Experts Academy, like the really important stuff. And to go to that event, it's another $500 a ticket if you don't own Experts Academy. And there are people, and we are going to be one of them, we're going to go back next year because we actually did the work in the live seminar. And you had to present it to people. And it was funny because I'm presenting, this is what we're doing with Small Biz Life and da-da-da. And people are like, can I buy that now? Is that for sale? Can I?
No.
Not yet, but it's going to be. But it was so cool to network with all those people and be with that energy in the room. But think about it. So you can buy the book for $20 and get most of the information.
Yes.
Or you can buy the $1,000 online course, Or you can go buy the VIP tickets at the Experts Academy, which are $1,000 a piece.
Yeah.
Plus pay, for travel and hotel and all that. But it's the same message. It's just broken down different ways. And that's why, I encourage you to find different price points, right? So that you can bring people in.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you sell, a $20, whitelist checklist kind of thing that says, okay, if you want to set up your own, computer the best you can, here's what we recommend for antivirus. Here's what we recommend for this. Here's what we recommend for that. And have affiliate links. So if they buy it, you make some money off of that. But you're going to have some people like, hey, I want to do it on my own. I really trust you. What do you recommend? And maybe they buy that $10 or $20 thing. Or maybe they say, I don't want to do this. I'm going to pay you to do it. Right. And that's your higher end.
Yeah. And also it works both ways to where you can also sit there and you're in a discussion with a higher end product and from the feedback you're getting from the customer, they can't afford it. You can actually work backwards and say, hey, well, we also have this other service too that, it's only $20 or it's like $5 a month or whatever the cost is. And you have to do more of the work, but this will really help you get towards what I could do at this higher level. And they might move down there. So you can move both ways. But the only way you come up with these products and services and with the differentiations of the different price points is by finding your differential. That thing in calculus that you hate to calculate, which actually is kind of easy, but the differential is. No, the differential was easy.
Yeah, the differential actually was easy.
But, it's when you go through these steps that we're talking about and we're getting very passionate about because it's very meaningful to us. And we've met a lot of people in our audience and we love our audience and we want them to succeed. So sometimes we get a bit over passionate, but the thing is, if you go through these steps and you find out how you're different, this will help you get to the point where you can put these things together to where you don't have to feel guilty by saying, oh, I can't afford to let you do mine because you can't afford to pay enough, but I can offer you something else because you've learned that from doing this work that we're talking about today.
Right. So, okay. So the next thing, and we kind of already talked about this a little bit, but know what topics they're talking about. And the great thing with social media, and especially like with YouTube, you can go and see how many views do they have on particular topics. Oh, those topics really resonated with people. Maybe I need to look at doing content in those areas for my audience.
Yeah. And there's this great thing, and they've changed the name a few times. I think it's still called AdWords, where you can go and you set up an account with Google and you can put in what you think it is. And Google will go, okay, well, here's a whole list of things that are related to that topic. And you sit there and go, oh, wait, the word I called it was like way at the bottom. The word everyone else is calling it is something else.
And this is for search terms.
Yes, these are finding those broad category terms and then narrowing them down. It's a wonderful tool that you can use to help find those conversation topics because Google knows how many times they've been asked. And they will tell you if you go into AdWords.
Right. And, one of the things I'm doing as I'm developing products for Accounting and Focus is I go through the back end of my website and the back end of YouTube, and I say, which videos are people watching? Which articles are people reading? And I'm looking at, okay, so if I take all the, this is my most watched topic, this is my most read topic, this is what I'm going to develop products for. Because this will most likely be a bestseller if I do it.
Yeah.
Then I look for, okay, so what's the next one I should work on? And I'm doing a white paper for that topic. So, there's lots of information out there that you can go find to figure out what you should be talking about, right? What topics are resonating? What are people struggling with? What do they want to improve in their lives? And go in that direction.
Yeah.
Even in a field like knitting, right? There's always a hot pattern, right? What is the hot pattern right now? What are the hot techniques right now? What is everybody knitting right now?
NBC.
And we went through, You know, like we went through a huge phase where everybody was knitting socks. Socks were the big thing. There was a particular pattern. It was called the monkey socks, and everybody was making monkey socks. You know, so maybe there's an opportunity there that there's a technique in there that people have trouble with, you know, that you might be able to teach to build a following, to build your audience. What are the price points that your competitors are selling at?
Yeah.
You know, so what packages are they offering, right? What is their price point? Even if it's like if you're teaching crafting classes, how much are they charging for their classes? What is what are the duration of their courses? Are they selling them online? Are they still doing in person? You know, how are they doing that? You can get a lot of information when you're doing this research.
And sometimes you get scared. You're going to find that person who's done very well in your area. You're like, oh my goodness, there's this website that I can't compete with. They're huge. They're gigantic. Oh man, I'm just going to give up. You know, it's actually easier. You go to a site like Alexia and you can actually figure out what are all of the terms that are working for them. Mm-hmm. You can learn so much more about a successful, especially online business. You won't get that if it's a successful local business, but a successful online business, you can get so much information if they're in the top 1,000,000 sites of the world. And if they're successful, they're in the top 1,000,000, probably.
Yeah. So, you know, I do this all the time with Accounting in Focus. I know who my competitors are. Mm-hmm. And so I'll go into Alexa and I'll look them up. And I'll say, okay, so what keywords are driving traffic to their site? Mm-hmm. Do I have content on this?
And it'll also tell you, you know, what are the things that are working for them search word wise now that you don't have content for, that maybe you should create some free content around, or maybe it'll lead you to your next product or service that you want to deliver.
Right. But, you know, I mean, it's really important to know what other people are doing. You can't just live in a bubble and say, all right, well, I'll try this. Okay, well, I'll try that. Go find people that are doing it and doing it well, and don't copy them, but look to see what are they talking about. Am I missing out on an opportunity to educate, you know, my audience? How are they selling their product? What price points are they using? You know, how are they getting their message out there?
If they're selling physical products, what similar types of things do they typically sell? You know, like, you know, you go into Amazon and you click to buy something and it will show you similar items that are connected that people also buy. It'll show you other things that people want to buy, that have also bought, that have bought this thing. So they have a couple different ways that they try and sell you multiple items when you're going and buying stuff on Amazon, which makes one-click shipping dangerous. Just to warn you.
You know, but it's interesting because, and this is the first time I've seen this from Amazon. I was on there the other day and I was looking up something related to cats. It wasn't cat sweaters, but it was something related to cats. And I was, and one of the things they showed me was like this mat that has a rim. And because our cats make a mess of the food. I think we could probably feed the cats for 4 days with the food that they've dumped out of their bowl onto the carpet.
And that's the stuff that we haven't been able to get back into the bowl.
Yeah. So, you know, it's this really cool, like, you know, lipped mat thing that goes on the floor. I'm like, oh, that's neat. I'm like, but I'm not going to buy that now. I'll put it in my wish list and, you know.
Maybe someday.
Things go in my wish list and I never go back to them. But sometimes I do, but not often.
And Amazon learned from you.
I got an alert today on my phone that said, hey, this item in your wish list is a lightning deal right now.
That's so sneaky.
And I was like, oh, well, if I can save 40% on it, sure. Boop.
Exactly. Now that becomes a no-brainer.
Right.
You know, but see, once again, you know, and that's why just because someone is gigantic in comparison to you doesn't mean there's something you can't learn. And one of the things you can learn from Amazon is how to sell stuff.
Right. And
online.
Right. And there's this really cool advertising that you can do through Facebook. It's called retargeting.
Yeah.
And so if you've ever like been to Amazon and you've looked at something and then you go on Facebook and you see ads,
it drives me crazy sometimes because sometimes it'll follow you for days.
But the cool thing is like you can do that as a business.
Yeah.
So you can say, hey, I sent somebody to the sales page, but they didn't buy. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'm now going to have Facebook target them with ads for that thing.
And especially like if you have a special offer that goes out. Let's say you've been pushing something, a new product that hasn't really sold, after about a month, you look at the revenue going, I need to change it. So you've tweaked the marketing a little bit.
Maybe you add a bonus.
Maybe you add a bonus, or you decide, hey, I want to do a sale because I need a new car, or for whatever reason. You then retarget the audience with the slightly changed offer. And the reason why I say it drives me crazy is because it's effective. Because usually if I'm looking at something, especially for a while, and especially if I go to a site where they sell it, I'm thinking about it. And then it haunts me for days afterwards because they're like teasing me like, oh, here's the shiny thing, Jeffrey.
But, even as small business owners, we can do that.
Yeah.
And, you can go on YouTube and you can search for Facebook ad retargeting. And there are people out there who probably have ads on their videos that will walk you through how to do it. So, we want you to get out of your own business for a little bit and look at what other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And even, if they're not exactly in the same space you're in, it's like there are people that, we're in the small business space, right? But, I watch people like Brendan Burchard. I watch what Michael Hyatt is doing. I watch what Gary Vee is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I watch what Kimra Luna's doing. I watch what Sal Khan is doing with Khan Academy, right? Because I'm in the education space for one of my sites. I'm watching what these people are doing to see, is this a direction I should go in for my business? Is this, a strategy that I could use?
Mm-hmm.
Because things are changing so fast and there are experts in different parts.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some people that are amazing with Twitter. There are some people that are amazing with YouTube. There are some people that are amazing with Facebook. And so you kind of have to say, okay, this is something I want to get better at. Let me follow this person. How did they use Facebook?
Yeah. Or for example, for me is I'm often thought of as a trendsetter.
I don't know how that's possible.
Not really.
It's
but
not the way you dress.
But but in the space I'm in, like I said, there's not like big competitors for me to go look at. There are a couple of people who you can tell they've kind of tried something, and I don't know how active they still are or still are not. But there are, for the geek side, there's like Nerdist, Geek and Sundry, IO9, some real big sites that cover a lot more than what I would talk about, or maybe what I talk about is only a subset and doesn't even really get truly discussed on their platforms. But I can see where things are moving in the geek community. I can see things people are kind of excited about. And that's important to know because once again, especially when you give away free content, maybe, Doctor Strange is coming out. It probably would have been smart for me to do something on the Marvel universe and Doctor Strange. I didn't, but shame on me because that has a lot of buzz going on about it. But those are the kinds of things that you can do if you're looking in and around your space. And you should probably spend time every month doing this.
But the thing is, like, I'm thinking about your show and you said Doctor Strange. What you could do, is go see the movie and then put together an episode while people are still talking about it, to say, all right, so this is what makes this world interesting and different. And these are things that you could, that you should think about when you're building your world.
It's very dangerous getting into comic book discussions. Very dangerous.
I know. I understand. But see, I mean, that's the thing is like, if you're looking at what's relevant out there, like right now, everybody's like freaking out about, about email security and internet security, so that's a hot
If you're in
issue.
IT and you want to get in people's doors, you want to capture their attention, you want to talk about how encryption can be used to protect their business, how to protect their emails, how not to get Podesta, I think is the new term.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you think about it, right, John Podesta had a Gmail account.
He did nothing to secure himself. He got hacked and it's caused 50,000 embarrassments to this point and will probably cost more.
So that's the thing. So it's like, I would be kind of, if I were in the IT space, right, I'd kind of be talking about, all right, what is password security? What can you do to help secure your Gmail account? Is Gmail secure? Is it encrypted? Like, people don't really know that, but they want to know, but they won't Google it themselves.
And that's why it's more important, when you're dealing with customers, they're not on tech blogs. So I go to tech blogs. I like tech blogs. They teach me a lot of neat and interesting things. I learn about stuff that sometimes I share out that I find relevant. But, when you start seeing topics that cross over from your space in mainstream consciousness on the evening news, on a bunch of website articles for like Yahoo News and places like that, places where your customer might be at. That's when you have to strike while the anvil's hot.
Exactly. So, this week I want you to try to take maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, and try to figure out what makes you different and what you can incorporate in your business to make it different, to make it innovative, to make it more attractive to customers. Because if you can do that, you are going to see your business move to another level.
Yeah.
Once you get out of your own business and you start looking at the bigger picture of what's out there, that is what will take you to the next level.
Yep.
And that's what we want for you, right? We want your business to move to that next level. So spend 2 hours this week, go out and see what's out there, and we'll see you again next week. Take care. Thank you for listening to Small Biz Life. If you enjoyed the show, please take a few minutes to rate and review the show on iTunes or Stitcher. Please visit smallbizlife.com to view today's show notes, take this week's poll, join the Facebook community, follow us on Twitter, or submit a question for the mailbag. Support the show by checking the resources page or by going to smallbizlife.com/Amazon whenever you shop.
This was Small Biz Life.